Welcome to another edition of Minor Obsession. Scott Lieberman with Sean Newton. We got a lot on the docket today. We're talking football, soccer, basketball, and we're talking how wrong one Scott Lieberman is at predicting football games.
Sorry, man, I gotta cut in here with a little John Cena. I'm not sure a North Texas fan deserves to talk about our football triumph over the weekend. I think this is going to be another butt whooping for the Charlotte 49ers. You know, I think it's going to be an under for sure, and I think it's going to be a defensive game, and North Texas is going to come home with the W. Wrong. Sorry to use your man John Cena against you, but I felt like it was warranted in this case. Because your boy Sean Newton picking the over, because there was no defense in that game whatsoever. Picking the Charlotte 49ers with the last-minute touchdown to take the game over. And knowing that North Texas was not going to come in and take the W away.
I mean, all of those points are fair. I would say first half, I looked pretty good. It was 21-7, pretty much book to paper of what I predicted. And the second half was a tale of two halves. We kind of did the reverse of what we've done for the last couple of games. We kind of didn't show up in the first half and then really showed up in the second half, specifically the fourth quarter. Hey, I'm happy to be wrong. I like to think that I'm like the Skip Bayless to the 49ers. I take these terrible hot takes, they listen to it, they put it up in the locker room, and it motivates them to get W's. So I like to say I contributed to that win rather than, you hand-holding them all the way to the finish line.
But what a game, right? Like, unbelievable game to say the least. You're right. First half, I was a little shaky. I was like, our defense isn't really stopping them, and our offense is getting stopped. But then credit to the coaching staff. Some good second half adjustments. Came out firing, got us 21-14. Then we're down by 2 scores most of the game until the fourth quarter when we pulled it 21-35, then 27-35, then 33-35. Then North Texas goes down, kicks a field goal, like a bomb. It was a 51-yarder, and I'm like, who do they got? Jonathan Cruz over there? How's this even going to go in? And then it went in. I thought we were going to have the ball at midfield and just be driving down the field to take the win. So I was getting pretty nervous towards the end. Could we drive down the field? We had roughly a minute left and one timeout to do it in. Credit to the coaching staff for the plays that I saw, because that last drive was just perfection. It was, let's funnel everything to the left side of the field. Let's let Chris Reynolds use his legs if there's not a pass there. Run out of bounds, perfect. Benny LeMay, run out of bounds, perfect. Get yourself into a manageable attempt to be able to score to win the game, and that's exactly what happened. Chris Reynolds takes the snap, nothing's downfield, scrambles around, almost to the line of scrimmage while he's scrambling, sees Victor Tucker covered in the end zone, but just chucks it up anyways, and boom, Victor Tucker comes down with that touchdown to give us the 39-38 win over North Texas. I was excited. I'm sure you were mad because, North Texas lost, but...
No, I'm very happy. I would say my North Texas analysis was pretty on point. Their quarterback's really good. He threw 5 touchdowns and just under 400 yards. So, and what really impressed me for the game, and this goes back to your point of me not knowing anything and predicting defense, no turnovers in the game for either team. I don't know if that's flawless or bad defense or a little bit of both, but pretty impressive, fun game for anyone that went out there. 39-38 barn burner with no turnovers. That's a lot of fun.
That is impressive. And we posted 3 sacks, which is awesome. One of them being the end of the game strip sack. So Highsmith coming away with 1 more sack. And Marquise Watts is giving Highsmith a run for his money this year. We might have 2 defensive ends in double-digit sack totals by the end of the season, which would be awesome to say and really tough to defend. Just tough to double-team somebody when the other side of the ball is just as good at getting to the quarterback. So I was really impressed there. Secondary obviously still has some work to do. Gave up some plays. Gave Fine what he wanted most of the game, but offense was able to keep us in it.
Yeah, and, Benny LeMay, as expected, almost 200 yards all-purpose. He had 2 touchdowns, played really phenomenal as usual. And then Sean taking my boy Chris Reynolds and taking him to the promised land, huh? Mm-hmm. Sean takes Chris Reynolds on a hot take, and magic happens. I think Chris felt that chip on his shoulder. He heard you talk about him, and he wanted to, make Daddy proud, I suppose.
Player of the week,
over 300
too.
yards. Yeah, Conference USA player, was it right? It was Conference USA Player of the Week.
Offensive
300 over 336 yards passing, 24 for 32, so 75% completion percentage, or 80%, whatever that math is, and 3 TDs. Sorry, I don't want to disrespect his rushing of nearly 100 yards rushing with a touchdown as well.
Mm-hmm. Nearly 100 yards rushing. That is correct. And I don't want to keep driving you into the ground, but I think you undersold Benny LeMay and said 150 all-purpose yards. And I was like, come on, man, we got to get higher than that. 200 maybe. He almost got there. So
no, you made me say 250. So
250.
I was correct with my 150. You gave up right over there.
He rushed for more than 150. Add on another 38 yards of receiving. Off 2 catches. So it's impressive.
What I was really impressed with was, despite trailing for pretty much the entire game, we still got Benny LeMay, or the rushing. We had 30 rushes and 30 passes just about. So pretty even distribution of rushing and passing for the offense in a game that we trailed the majority of. And that just shows you gotta stick to your bread and butter, even if you're trailing, it'll eventually come. Let it happen, and you got to give Coach Healy credit for that, and Alex Atkins for sticking to the game plan, even when we're down 14-0 or 21-7, and just keeping it going. And eventually, even with only 18 seconds left, it paid off.
Agreed. I think that game plan was really well defined. Stuck to the bread and butter, like you said. I think we were a little down on some of the numbers slipping doing the pregame preview, but this week, I don't have them right in front of me, but I would expect to see Benny back up at the top, first in several categories, given the game he had. The offense total might move back into first place for scoring. All around, just saw a really good positive game. Still saw the same weaknesses that we've seen, if there's a point to be critical about. I mean, special teams almost led a return break towards the end, and defense in the secondary tackling wasn't great, but you can't be mad about Club Lit opening for business. Saw Healy throwing his shirt off again. It's been several weeks since he's gotten a chance to celebrate with the team, and he did not delay to take advantage to take his shirt off and go crazy in that locker room, which I love.
Yeah, and it was fun to explain that at work to someone. They were saying, "What was that? Your coach at one of the nightclubs uptown? Was he at like whatever Alley Cat?" I'm out of the loop now. Whatever the clubs are now. And the guy who asked me is also. I was like, no, it's Club Lit. It's in the locker room. Big, we're way cooler than Chapel Hill, your alma mater. We don't have an old man dancing the hokey pokey.
I mean, I look at those and I say, if you're a recruit out there and you see that locker room, how do you not want to come and play here? Like, the sky's the limit for recruiting with the amount of emphasis put on celebrating success. Outside of everything else, you saw that if you instill that type of culture in your team, they never quit. And they might have been outmatched in the first half and might have been down by 2+ scores the vast majority of the game, but never quit, came back, and got to celebrate for it.
For sure. So more to come. We've got a big game on Saturday, our second to last home game. A few more games to go. We're still, we were on life support going into last week, and we got a big win. Need to keep that going if we want to have a chance at a bowl game. But with wins like that and that never say die attitude, who knows? It could happen.
It definitely could happen. So, other exciting news in the Charlotte 49er world, soccer is coming to a close, and men's and women's both have a full head of steam going into the Conference USA tournament. Both are the top of the conference. We'll start with men's. They're currently 9-2-4 with one game left before the Conference USA tournament against North Florida on November 2nd. That's at home, so come out, support for the final home game of the year. And they have had an undefeated season against Conference USA. They've either tied or won every single game against conference. So that's impressive. Always good when you can get your conference wins and go into the tournament with that number 1, number 2 seed area where you get some rest, you get the easier teams to start with, and looking for them to make a really deep run in the conference tournament. Conference tournament this year is in Norfolk, Virginia, so not too far away. It's not over in Houston like most of the tournaments seem to be, or in Texas area, and that's November 13th, 15th, and 17th. So expecting to see quite a few Niners make that drive up there to support the team in conference play.
Yeah, and kind of what we talked about. I know you gave me some crap for saying that we wouldn't get ranked in the top 5 because I thought we would lose some games. We got ranked in the top 5, and then we lost some games, which I'm happy about. I think they came at the right time, losing to Georgia State 2 weeks ago and then losing to Florida Gulf Coast the week after. Tough losses, 0-1. So, I mean, we played good, just couldn't get a goal in the hole. But I think that's what we need. I like losing before these conference tournaments, before the NCAA tournament. Get them off the belt, know how it tastes like, and then don't do it again. We don't want to be like the New England Patriots and make it all the way and then lose the big game. I think those losses we're gonna look back and smile at those because I think we really have a good shot at finally bringing home that soccer national championship that eluded us 7 years ago or 8 years ago against Chapel Hill.
Yeah, and similar to last year. Last year we had great defense. Most of our games were, close games, especially in the NCAA tournament. Felt like we played better than the other team and just couldn't quite equalize it towards the end of the game. And so nothing but good things going into this season. Shout out Elliot Panico, our goalie, is currently in the run-in for Senior Class Award. I think he was in 3rd last time I checked. So if you haven't gone out and voted, be sure you go out and vote. There's links all over Twitter if you find the men's soccer team page. But he's been a rock for us between the posts, and would love to see him take home a Senior Class Award too, to take a bookend onto his career. So switching gears to women's soccer, similar boat. First in Conference USA, going into the tournament, 12-4 currently, so really good record there. One game left, another home game. That's November 1st versus Old Dominion. So they do still have one more conference game left to close out the season, and then the conference tournament for women is actually in Denton, Texas. So a little bit further of a hike to get to, but that's November 6th, 8th, and 10th. Same story there. I mean, being in the top seeds is always good going into a tournament where nothing but blue skies in front of you. Get to play the lower seeds, get some rest in there while other teams are having to duke it out with the tougher battles, and hopefully can come out with a conference championship under their belt.
Yeah, and I look to the defense, and 2 of our alma mater people, Riley Orr and Mary Manser, both Lake Norman High School Wildcats seniors. Look for that senior leadership on defense to help us secure a Conference USA championship and make a run in the NCAA tournament potentially as well.
And actually, I misspoke. They're in 2nd right now, not in 1st. Florida Atlantic overtook them this past week. They're 7-1-1. We're 7-2. So in the conference. So, but still top seed there, 2nd seed, and potentially have a chance to go back into 1st with another conference game left. And really looking for good things for both soccer teams. It's always good. I feel like it makes recruiting easier when both men's and women's of a sport are good, so the program's on solid ground.
Yeah, and good is an understatement. We're really good. Like we're in a good spot. Great. The men's team's ranked in the top 25 all season, all the way up to 5, and the women's team seems to be at the cusp of something great, whether it's this year or next year. Great. So moving on to a sport that's starting up. Hopefully people got a chance to go out for the big exhibition game against Georgia. Men's basketball is back. It was nice to see a squad on the court. Only 4 players returning that actually played in a game last year. And I'm not going to lie, Sean, it was a good atmosphere. Not quite the fanfare I was hoping for. We filled up the lower bowl, not really the upper bowl. But
It's pretty solid, though.
yeah, for an exhibition game, Tom Crean, his first appearance as
Boo.
Georgia head coach. I know you're not a fan from your Indiana experience, but he looked awesome, honestly, as a coach. I really liked just a quick side bit, and then I'll get into some of what I saw at the game. At the end of the game,
Everybody pause while Scott goes homer for a different team again. Jeez.
well, I liked at the end he gave a lot of words of encouragement to a good amount of our players, and really
Oh, that's good.
had a lot of words for Jordan Shepard, which I appreciated. He really gave him a long talk. It looked like real positive, rah, and to be honest, Georgia has the potential of being a really good team this year. They have a top 5 player in the country who's going to be a one and done in the NBA in Anthony Edwards. So we're playing against an NBA talent and pretty much dominated the game up until the final 4 or 5 minutes of the game. We were winning all the way through. The beginning, you could tell we were a little nervous. We were down by about 8 or 9, came back on a good run, took a commanding lead, and just started making our shots. Jordan Shepard really did, as John Davis previewed with us when we talked to him earlier in the year, really did kind of take that John Davis role, not with bringing up the ball, but just kind of being that go-to to score in that moment when you really need it. I really am interested in the rest of the team, and we'll do a bigger preview on this, obviously. We'll do a basketball preview for both men's and women's sometime next week leading into the first game of the regular season. But Jordan Shepard looked great. Some of those senior transfers, Drew Edwards and Amude Bamba, both made appearances. Edwards started, and Milos looked great, and it was really nice to see Luka back in the lineup. I forgot how good he was, and he definitely got a lot stronger. He missed all of last year, and honestly, I'm very excited about him. I think he's going to be a big player for us. And then the freshman that came in and the size, and yeah, I'm very pumped. The only downside was Malik Martin was not dressed. Yep. I hope that changes, but it could be the whole season. I'm not sure how he's rehabbing with the knee injury, but let's hope for the best with him. Cooper Robb spelled off the bench, and it looked like him and Shepard immediately had some chemistry. They had a nice back and forth, a couple of dimes, couple of easy threes for each other when we made our run against Georgia and had the lead. But overall, very successful. I was worried when the game started and Georgia started to get away with it that this isn't going to be the exhibition I was hoping for. And we really settled the storm, came back, and looked like we were going to win all the way up until, like I said, the last couple of minutes. So very positive for the Niners, the exhibition game, so it doesn't count anyway. And we played against NBA talent and played up to that level with a good coach in Tom Crean, despite what you may think. Yeah. With that big game and our cupcake schedule, I mean, sky's the limit. Why not? Why not make some magic happen this year?
Got to win the tournament with that schedule, but it's doable.
For sure.
I was impressed, too, as a team shooting 40% first half, second half. That's pretty good, 12 for 30 both halves. And that's being the first game of the season, even though it's not a real game. I'll let you in on a little secret. NBA talent, doesn't matter. Tom Crean probably still going to coach them out of the NCAA tournament. But no offense to my man, I just did not have good years rooting for Indiana basketball. So that's men's. Women's is getting ready to start up too, so we don't have any games we can actually talk about, but we do have the exhibition game at home October 28th, which is today. So by the time you're listening to this, it probably happened, but just so you know, we can't really give you stats on it.
William Pace. Well, it's today as you're listening to
Peace.
It. Last night. Peace, sorry. They'll have their home opener against Gardner-Webb. It was cool before the exhibition game, again, because we didn't really have the midnight madness that we're normally used to. Coach came in and gave us a really good pep talk on what to look out for, and obviously the main thing and who she's expecting to do a lot is Jade Phillips. Jade Phillips being disrespected by Conference USA and not getting put on a pre team any mention, and didn't get anything last year for her great run at the end of the year, those last 10 games of the season, averaging 18-9. So sounds like she's got a chip on her shoulder. She worked really hard in the summer, and they expect a lot out of the redshirt senior, and so do we. I'm a Jade Phillips guy.
Yeah, we know you are. Not that I don't love her too, but I'm excited about that team. I'm excited to really get into the preview too. So look for basketball preview closer to the kickoff, which will be in the next few days here, coming into early next week. And until then, there's some other exciting stuff on campus. We've got a women's volleyball match versus Rice on November 1st. So if you're around for that, and then obviously we've got Middle Tennessee coming to town for football, so we'll preview that Friday, day before the game, like we have been, and give you a little secret. Scott's probably going to pick Middle Tennessee to win the game, but we'll see. Maybe.
You know, I might. If it's going to keep the Niners winning, I will keep picking against them because they might need me. Like I said, I'm bulletin board material, baby.
That's fair. That's fair. Anything else you want to cover while we've got the time?
No, I'm excited about basketball. We'll get a preview in, and we'll try to get a word with our coaches at some point as well. I know we haven't done some of our in-depth interviews like we did earlier in the year, but those are still coming on at some point, and we'll talk to the coaches and get some more insight from the team in the future. So be on the lookout for some of that as well. Check our social media, email us at Gmail, and the Niners are the best school in the world, and they're showing it this week. This was a positive week. You can see we've got our pep back in our step. Football's winning, basketball's starting. You know, there's nothing better than late October, November, when you got everything kind of going on all cylinders. So this is a good time / a busy time for those of us covering the sports. So we're trying to cover as much as we can. And if there's anything that we're not covering that you want to hear about, let us know on social media, because we'll definitely make sure we make the time for that.
And until then, wear green.
And go Niners! Let's go!